What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to part 2 of what if Deku had a solo leveling like Quirk. Now, part 1 actually ended up getting so much more support than I expected, and honestly, I haven't had this much fun with a My Hero What If in such a long time. So, if you guys are loving this series as much as me, make sure you guys extra show some support and drop an insane amount of likes on this video. Let's try to get more likes than even on the first part to show me that you guys really want a part 3, and trust me, this episode is action-packed to the brim. Literally all action. I promise you guys are gonna love it, and I went extra card with this one, right? So show me you guys support me and help your boy out, scratch your boy back, I'll scratch yours. Leave a like on this video, and if you guys haven't left a like on the first part, please do so, seeing as it genuinely helps so much with the algorithm and it'll make your boy's day like infinitely better. That said, enjoy.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
We would now be seconds away from Uraraka's impending doom, and suddenly, time would stop. We would flash to Nezu in his office, about to press the button to stop the zero pointer before it could crush one of his future to-be students, and Izuku would have a menu option pop up in front of him. He sees a new special ability that just got unlocked, and that would be a speed boost. Izuku, immediately seeing this, realizes that this is his one and only chance and that he doesn't have another moment to spare. Clicking on it, Izuku's body would move like 5 times as fast as it usually does for only 5 seconds. And with that 5 seconds, Izuku was able to blitz in there, grab Uraraka, and get out of the way of the robot before it could even come close to crushing her. Izuku, when he grabbed onto her, he would have thrown the rubble off, grabbed Uraraka, thrown her on his back, double jumped on top of a light post, double jumped on top of a building, quadruple jumped in front of a higher building because he would have double jumped and then like double jumped again by using the wall as another jump. So like quadruple jump basically, and landed on top of the building, only then to look back at the zero pointer, seeing as he has 2 seconds left and deciding that he better do something. Izuku jumps up into the air so unbelievably hard, and BAM! A punch would land directly in the face of the zero pointer, sending that thing straight tumbling down, just like he would have done so in the original. However, this time around, we have to take into account the fact that Izuku is not as strong as a 100% like Detroit Smash or anything like that, so it doesn't do half as much damage, but it does indent the robot just enough, with just enough force to send it toppling backwards as Izuku begins to free fall. And Izuku, once he's free falling, he would use the robot itself to land on its arm, which would like be falling down, and jump off of it before then going so close to the ground he thinks that this might be it, but then he just double jumps. He double jumps and lands on the ground safely. Now, would that actually work in real life? I don't think so, but according to my surviving an elevator falling logic, it works. So let's just go with it. Anyways though, according to my logic, Izuku survives, and because of this, we're going to be having it so that Izuku is able to kind of just like hear a crowd behind him. Izuku would see a bunch of people looking at him and Uraraka watching from up above on the building, just shocked that a student was able to do something like that. Izuku looking at them, he would finally have a moment to think like, did I do something wrong? And then the cheers. For the first time in Izuku's life, Izuku wasn't getting bullied or picked on. Izuku was getting praised and told that he did a great job. Recovery Girl comes in and she says, out of the way, out of the way. Sorry, y'all. Had to do that because I don't want y'all to deal with my scratchy voice. But anyways, Recovery Girl comes in and she's just like, out of the way, out of the way. And everybody does so. And then Recovery Girl just kind of goes and, she looks at her Uraraka and she's just like, oh, well, sweetheart, you just have a little fractured, ankle. I can heal that up for you. She kisses Uraraka and Uraraka's like, thanks, with a big bright smile as Recovery Girl smiles back, and Izuku would find himself just walking back home with a huge pep in his step, just straight skipping, just having an amazing time. And he realizes, wait, did I just... Izuku realizes that he just got so many points for defeating that robot. Izuku was just gifted an insane 30 points for taking out that massive robot by himself. And what would Izuku use those points on? Well, Izuku decides one thing. He thinks to himself that he should probably help balance everything out. So he thinks, I'll put 10 points into agility and 20 points into durability. So his agility turns into a, wait, what was it before? It turns into a 40, and his durability turns into a 42, because we definitely needed to up that durability. Now Izuku can tank high ranking attacks like nobody's business, and he can just kind of hold up a lot longer in battle. His agility stats will be even crazier. That will help out his speed and his strength, considering he'll be able to pull off different acrobatic, like Nightwing, Batman-esque type moves, which will definitely serve to help him in the next upcoming events that will be taking place very, very soon. That said though, 2 weeks would pass and Izuku would finally get his acceptance letter from UA, opening it only to receive All Might, who would be like, ha 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 ha, I am here. And after this, he's just told that he's accepted, and Izuku goes to his room. There, Izuku would begin fidgeting with his video game system and realizes that there's a shop. Izuku sees that there's potions he can buy, and there wouldn't be many. There's just a healing potion, there is a stamina potion, and there is a strength boost potion, which can increase his speed by a 0.5 for a couple of minutes, right? So that helps out a bit, but Izuku is more focused on the healing potion. Izuku could theoretically use that to heal people from sicknesses and stuff like that. And Izuku would definitely take note of that. He has a bunch of coins since he hasn't used any of them, and experiencing coins are different things. So Izuku definitely has more than enough to buy himself like 10 health potions. So he does that, and he also gets himself a strength boost potion in case he ever were to need it. And for now, those are the only potions available. But definitely make sure to comment down some ideas, and I'll be sure to take them into account for the next part, which will be part 3, since I'm pretty sure I'm not going to finish it all this video. But yeah, anyways, so continuing on with the story, Izuku's stats are now as follows: speed 55, strength 43, IQ 55, agility 40, and durability 42, with a couple of cool potions to help him throughout his hero journey. Now, because of this, we are definitely going to be needing a couple of things added to his arsenal, and because of that, Izuku will be working on his brand new ability, learning how to use it accurately, and seeing as his intelligence is an astounding 55, Izuku would realize that the best way to utilize double jump would be to double jump. I'm sorry, I don't have a 55 IQ, like 55 like level IQ, you know what I mean? Like I'm not like half maxed out, so I can't really think of something cool. I'm pretty sure you guys could, but not me. For now, he kind of just uses that to, get high and, all that stuff. Not in that way, but Q Towley, the little pot plant. But no, continuing on with the story, Izuku finally would make his way towards UA, and there he would notice a massive door. Walking inside only to see the one person he hoped he would never have to deal with again, Katsuki Bakugo. Bakugo, seeing Izuku walk towards those doors, would be like, huh? What are you doing here, Deku? Wasn't it clear to you that you weren't supposed to enroll for the school? How'd you even get in, you quirkless loser? I can't believe they let somebody like you in. And then Araka walks in behind him, saying, he's not quirkless. I mean, I saw him. He saved me. He even beat up a 0-pointer in front of me. Everybody in my section saw. How could somebody as miraculous as him and incredible be quirkless? She looks at him with a smile and says, and I never got to thank you, so thanks. And Bakugo, looking at the direction of Araka, he would have just this dumbfounded look of, huh? What are you talking about? That loser's been quirkless ever since I knew him, since we were kids. He's always been useless. That's why he's a Deku. And Izuku, looking towards the direction of Bakugo, he's bigger than him now in terms of muscle mass. He looks just like the one that we see in the thumbnail. Bro is basically comparable to Mirio as a first year. So, yeah. Bro's kind of built like Sato, but not as exaggerated when it comes to the muscle mass and stuff. So, Yeah, buff, but not so buff that it looks disgusting. But anyways though, continuing on with the story, I just do want to tell you guys one little thing. If you guys want to hear any talking in the background or like somebody like talking or whatever, just know it's my family. I was recording the first portion of this without them here, and I thought they weren't going to be home for a while. So I was like, yes, finally, I get to record my video. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Or I'm going to keep going just because I don't feel like doing this later. But anyways, okay, so continuing on with the story. Once this happens, Bakugo looks towards the direction of Deku and says, so, I guess it is true. That moment when I saw you double jump in the air. Looks like your quirk truly has manifested. But if that's all it is, then I'm not worried. The last time we fought, you got lucky, Deku. And it won't happen again. Just know, just the way that you've been training, I have too. I promise, the next time we meet, it won't be so easy on you, you half-assed cripple. Before looking at the direction of Deku and saying, you'll always be the quirkless loser to me. And, you know, even Ida comes up to like defend Deku. He's like, hey, you know, like, that's no way to talk to your classmates. Like, what are you doing, kid? And Bakugo would say, shut up. Before suddenly, a yellow sleeping bag would open at the front and it would say, everybody shut up. Look, we're gonna be starting class. Put these on and meet me outside. Uraraka would be like, but what about orientation? And Aizawa would say, there is no orientation. Here at UA, us teachers are allowed to run our classrooms as we see fit. And since I don't think you guys are going to be needing some dumb orientation to be praised about, then we're going to be doing things my way. Like I said, put these on and meet me outside. Everybody does so, and they would be kind of confused, being like, is this guy serious? Like, who even is he? And Izuku would realize exactly who this is. His name would be above his head, along with his quirk. And Izuku would say, Eraserhead. Aizawa. That's Eraserhead. Quirk, Erasure. Izuku would smirk, before then turning towards the direction of all of his classmates and seeing all of their quirks and their names and their ages up above, as well as their health and all that stuff. And Izuku would smile before thinking to himself, that's new, realizing that he just unlocked another special ability that is active at all times, something that he gets when he reaches like a certain level, when all of his stats are like at a pretty high enough decent level. And seeing as most of his stats are already getting to like that 50% mark and he's already like almost half as strong as he's gonna be, this is why I figured that it would be a perfect spot to throw this in there. But I digress. Okay, so continuing on, they all make their way outside for the quirk assessment test, obviously, and with this test would come a bunch of different moments. Obviously, we have the throwing ball, and the person who would be doing that would be Izuku, considering that he ends up getting 150 100 robot points and 50 rescue points. So Izuku gets a grand total of 150, and so because of this, Izuku would be the one to throw the ball. Bakugo would get enraged at the fact that Izuku beat him at the test, and he would be very, very, very butthurt at this. Izuku would throw the ball and shock everybody. Izuku decides that for now, he's going to use that little potion to up the antes. And so, as everybody would look at him, they would notice that a little bottle would appear in front of Izuku. And Aizawa would say, hey kid, what's that? And Deku would say, don't worry, it's part of my quirk. Before grabbing the little bottle, chugging it down, and glowing a little bit. Everybody would watch this in awe and confusion, and Izuku would say, well, here goes nothing, before throwing the ball as hard as he possibly can and getting an insane score of I don't know what, just, I don't know, like 40% of like somebody with a video game type quirk. So let's say that somebody's normal score would be like something like under 100 meters. So because he has like insane strength now, let's say that he's at around 40% one for all, considering his strength is insane. Actually, no, that's kind of busted. 30% strength one for all. Let's say he gets like a little bit over the score that Bakugo is going to be getting in this test, just because I want Bakugo to let that realization sink in, that even though he trained on his quirk and has been training on his fighting skills and doing all this, and even though his score will even go up by like 200, Izuku still beat that. Like, think about how hard that would hit you if somebody who you consider to be like weak beat you up and then continue to be better than you. Bro, that would hit. That would kill your ego. Like seriously, just completely dead. But what happens next after that? Oh, right, the rest of the test would happen, and just know Izuku gets phenomenal marks for each and every single one, going on and get great scores, and going on to get very, very, very lucky when it comes to the people that would come behind him, so he could kind of examine how these tests are all going to be going. Izuku ultimately, because of his video game style quirk, and because of the fact that he has almost all equal stats, and he's very, very, very intelligent, he's basically already Nezu level, seeing as his intelligence is already at a 55. Izuku, using his intelligence, would be able to find the best ways to utilize his video game RPG quirk and be able to ultimately completely destroy the competition, beating Momo for first place and ultimately making his way back home, where Bakugo stops him and tells him that soon he's going to show him that just because he won this time, that doesn't mean that he's going to be winning ever again. You got that, you quirkless nerd? As, you know, he walks off, and Izuku looks towards the direction of Bakugo before thinking how he feels bad for him. He's so caught up in his own ego and complex that he can't stop to realize that Izuku never even wanted to be his enemy. But if that's what Bakugo wants, then that's what he's gonna get. I guess they'll be rivals from now on, Izuku would think. And so, Bakugo would basically go on to stay in the hero course, and nothing would change whatsoever. 2 days would pass of normal school activities, and those first 2 days would have just been spent teaching them the basics of academics, right? And then the third day, obviously the day that it is now, they would be in class when suddenly All Might would end up busting through the door and being like, I am here, you know what I mean? And everybody gets completely excited, you know, they're all having an amazing time. You know, obviously you see the greatest hero of all time in the world. It's kind of like, for me, it would kind of feel like Steph Curry just walking into like my school. Like I'd be going crazy, but that's just me. But yeah, that's pretty much how they would react. And then All Might would end up being all like, the clothes make the pros, before clicking a button. And it's just such an awesome scene in My Hero. Clothes would end up popping out, and all of their hero costumes would end up showing up. Izuku's hero costume this time is basically going to be exactly what you guys see in the thumbnail. Pretty much going to be the same costume that he has in the original, but it's going to be more like spandexy, like superhero like. Instead of the little costume that he would have gotten in the original, we're going to be getting like a more like cooler look on that, like a more badass approach, you know what I mean? Something along the lines of like a Superman-esque kind of suit, without the undies on the outside, of course. But continuing forward, Izuku would be having these like very hard boots that are really lightweight, like they're lightweight and hard at the same time. He's gonna also be having these gauntlets that are capable of like landing insane blows, and they're also lightweight. And he would also be having a retractable cape, a cape that is flame resistant, and he got it because of Bakugo. Deku knows that he's durable, but he's not flame resistant. And with this flame, with this cape, he can pretty much press a button and like this cape will come out, and Izuku can just grab it and put it over his face and stuff, since that's like the part that isn't flame resistant, and like cover himself so that he doesn't get hurt by flames. This is something that he's definitely going to be using for Bakugo, mind you. But basically what ends up happening is that All Might goes on to tell the entirety of the classroom that for now, they're all basically just going to need to suit up and pick some names from this bowl. Immediately, Bakugo and Deku would pull out some names, and they realize that they're going to be going up against each other. Izuku, knowing that his teammate is going to be Uraraka, he would smile, knowing that it would be that nice girl that he saved. And Uraraka just seems like a really, really kind person overall. Izuku's happy that she's the one that he ended up getting teamed up with. And so, Izuku would smirk at her before she would smile and say, so, I guess it's kind of going to be something like a fated rivals kind of fight? And Izuku says, honestly, yeah, it is. I don't know what Bakugo's going to do exactly, but I know one thing. Knowing him, he's definitely going to come after me. How he's going to fight me and what techniques he's going to use, not sure, but all I know is I got to be ready. I think that the strategy that we should use is for you to go up on the top floor on the left side, seeing as Bakugo is always more of like a right side kind of guy, and knowing him, he's definitely going to be coming after me. So stay close by until we hear him, and then go the opposite direction up the stairs and make your way towards the bomb room. When you get there, use your intercom to let me know that you're there, and trust me, by that point, I'll definitely have handled Bakugo. Uraraka would say, you're confident, I like it. Wish I could be as confident as you. And Izuku would say, you will be someday. Trust me, your quirk is incredible. It's gravity, right? Think about it like this. If you touch somebody, the fight's over. What are they going to do without gravity? Nobody's really used to fighting that way. And Uraraka would smirk before saying, you're right. Izuku says that her quirk has so much potential and to never doubt herself. You know, she smiles and she kind of blushes a little bit, looking at, you know, the chest of Deku and the arms, like, bro is ripped. And so, you know, he just smiles and his hair is actually a lot different, exactly like what you guys see in the thumbnail. So, you know, Izuku looks a lot better. And, you know, then finally, you know, we hear Bakugo in the hallway just going, Deku! Before, you know, he ends up arriving, and he would throw a massive explosion at the direction of Izuku with his right and left arm, closing them both before shooting a massive explosion in Deku's face. Deku, at that precise moment, grabs his cloak and puts it in front of himself as Bakugo would flip over on top of him, sweep at Deku's leg, and ultimately land a berserk explosion in Deku's face. Deku would get a bunch of damage from that, his face would get scuffed up, blood would begin pouring out, and Izuku would be sent flying towards the wall, where Izuku would think to himself, how in the world Bakugo got this strong? Like, the last time he fought him, he was so predictable. It seems he actually has been training. And so, Deku stands up and looking towards Bakugo, cracks his neck and says, come on, go time, kid, before rushing in and fighting Bakugo hand to hand. Bakugo using his explosions to pretty much help him out, and using weird and sneaky tactics, and even trying to use an AP shot point blank, which Deku would dodge using his insane reflexes. Deku, realizing that Bakugo is trying to make this a battle where he lands just as much explosions as he can on Deku, and he's not going for like non-vital points. Bakugo is literally trying to, it almost looks like, go for the kill. All Might would be telling Bakugo to calm down, but Bakugo would be saying, not a chance, teach, before then continuing on with the battle and punching Izuku square in the jaw. Izuku delivers a blow right back and a knee to Bakugo's stomach before sending him crashing back into a wall, and then grabbing Bakugo by the leg as Bakugo uses his arms as explosions and shoots himself up in the air, slamming Deku into the ceiling, and Deku would fall down with Bakugo saying, you know, Deku, this whole time I haven't exactly just been going after you because I wanted to hurt you. It's because of this, as both gauntlets would flash, you know, like that they're ready, and Bakugo, looking towards the direction of Deku, would say, dodge this, quirkless nerd, before pulling both pins, and immediately the explosion gauntlets would go off insanely like fast, right? Just blowing up that entire room. The intercom signals would finally be lost, and then the next thing that we would pick up would be Izuku using his speed for 5 seconds to blitz inside of one of the rooms and just jump straight through the wall, knowing that that explosion was going to do heavy damage. Immediately, as soon as he jumped in, using his cape to cover himself from the flames, and knowing that the explosion was finally over, Izuku blitzes towards the direction of Bakugo through the smoke, and using his ability of, you know, being able to see you know, Bakugo's name and all that stuff in his stats, if he's like in his range of sight, you know, like if he's kind of in his range of sight, if he can like slightly see him, that pops up, and Izuku could slightly see him. It's not x-ray vision, so he can't see him if he's through a wall, but it's smoke screen, right? So that's different. But anyways, Deku uses this, and rushing in using his insane speed and also using a strength boost potion would come in and land an insane uppercut on Bakugo, which sends him crashing through 2 separate walls, and then rushing over towards him, kicks him right in the ribs, slamming him through an entire like support beam as Bakugo coughs out blood and like and Deku captures him up with capture tape before saying, you've fallen such a long way, Bakugo. Before, I thought you were going to be a hero, but now you don't act like a hero at all. You're just a villain, a bully. And Bakugo would open one eye after hearing these words from Deku, and you just see so much hate. This version of Bakugo just has bloodlust in his eyes, and he seriously was trying to kill Deku. Following this, All Might would end up arriving, taking Bakugo to the nurse and telling him that he can't be doing this. Immediately after this, Aizawa would end up arriving on the scene, and watching the tape, Aizawa would not think twice before saying, you're expelled, Bakugo, come with me. Using his erasure quirk on Bakugo, leaving Bakugo no way of doing anything, and bro just gets expelled. Mitsuki gets called to the office, and she is informed that Bakugo is not fit to be a hero. he acts more like a villain. And if anything, he needs to put in severe therapy now before this thing gets any worse. And so he gets kicked out and he blames everything on Deku. On the flip side, however, Deku would be inside of a room with All Might as he would ask him a question. All Might, I have to tell you something. Ever since I saw you, I realized one thing. Your health bar. For some reason, it says you're at 50% all the time. Why is that? And All Might would be like, 50%? What are you talking about? And Izuku would say, sorry, I didn't really explain. Well, have you ever played RPG style games where you kind of have stats and you can upgrade yourself and stuff like that? And All Might would say, oh, right, I used to play games like that in my youth. Yeah, what about it? Izuku would say, well, with my quirk, it's kind of like that. I can upgrade myself by completing missions and tasks. And I can see everybody's name, stats, quirks, and age. But for you, I can't. I don't know why, but for some reason, your stats are just different. Everybody else has their health at 100% when they look healthy. But your health is at 50. All Might, why? And All Might shuts the door before then saying, kid, I didn't know that anybody was going to ever find out about this. But seeing as you ended up finding out about this on your own, I guess there's no real reason to hide this from you. Going back into a Small Might form, he says, kid, don't freak out. I am All Might. But the thing is, I suffered an extreme accident, lifting up his shirt and showing Izuku the fact that he has this gnarly scar. He would go on to explain his entire backstory with All for One and how he has been struggling with this for the past couple years. Izuku says that he thought something like that might have been the case, and he would ask if it was Chainsaw Man or something like that. And All Might would be like, nah, he's powerful, but not this powerful. Explaining All for One and saying how he's been looking for a successor. Saying that, after seeing his performance today, he thinks that might be him. And Izuku says, what would you say if you could keep being a hero and maybe hold off on that? And All Might would be like, that'd be awesome. But Deku would say, well, here, All Might, you've been my symbol of hope, peace, and everything ever since I could remember. And I want to help you. All Might, I know you might not have complete trust in me seeing as I'm just your student, but drink this, and I promise that you'll be healed just like new in a matter of an instant. All Might grabs onto the drink and would gulp it down before then glowing like a yellow aura and then checking his stomach. It's healed, and All Might went into his buff form and it just never went away. All Might gripped at his fists and brought Izuku in for the biggest bear hug of Izuku's life. Izuku would be like, too tight. And All Might would just be like, kid, we gotta go celebrate. They go celebrate, and Izuku ends up arriving home very, very, very late at night, right? And Bakugo right now is just in a bad state mentally. So Bakugo thinks that, Deku ruined his life. So now Bakugo has to ruin his life. And so we would cut to a scene where Bakugo is making his way towards the Midoriya residence. He goes towards the door and shakes at the doorknob, knocking, and Inko would come in and be like, what do you want, Bakugo? And Bakugo just enters and would literally proceed to just look at her and say, it's nothing personal, before BAM!